Hey guys, I'm back today with another little video tutorial. Well, I don't know if you can really call that a tutorial, but really showing up process a bit of my texturing and stuff like that, since I got a lot of question again about how I texture my latest character Ellie from the Last of Us game. So I wanted to show you a bit what I did inside of Photoshop, what I did inside of other programs, some just little tricks about the baking and what kind of map I used. And I did also get a lot of question about the air, so I'm gonna cover that too. So here you saw that's the map I've showed online if you've seen them already. So that was just a little preview. So that was actually not a one map. That was actually a few different maps that I just put together for presentation purpose. So I actually had like all of them in separate texture because that's what I've seen that a lot of games are making in the PS3 era and stuff like that, and I think that's going to go over that direction in the next generation too, especially for character like Ellie that changed clothes and accessories like in the game, so you can easily swap them around. So I wanted to show you a bit of like what of those texture look like right now. So those are my high res, obviously. So uh, I actually make them smaller, resize them in the end but I like to work in bigger resolutions. So I'm just gonna do a quick overall of my maps. So the back map, the hair, the head hair, lower body, zoomed in, and upper body. I had other one too, like eyes and eyelash were in a different one, and I have one texture with the hands and the inside of the mouth, like the teeth, the tongue, stuff like that. I'm not gonna show those one right now because they're pretty much like not very interesting to see or anything like that, and I'm not sure I can actually show something interesting to them. So yeah, so that's pretty much the texture I had. I'm gonna show you to the model that I had in the end. So that's a model. You can see I'm using a flat render right now to show you a bit more of my texture. So people have been asking a lot about if I use like picture or stuff like that for the texture, and I was not really the only texture I've been using, like photos or grunge texture, and they were not the biggest part of the actual like dirtying up process at all. It just helped me because those are more random, like you don't paint them. So sometimes it give I think a little bit more of realism than when I choose everywhere when I put my things. So I think the best way to start is to actually show a bit more of the process that went through this texture. So first, I'm gonna show you what I had for occlusion, stuff like that. This is just a in-touch occlusion render I made for the shirt, so you can see those are I made few render, like this is only the t-shirt, and there was another render made for like the undershirt, the black one. So this is how I usually separate my mesh in multiple parts for texturing. And I think here I have there's still a bit of bug in it, but there was kind of a light map I created for the character to bring a little bit of the volume back in it. That's actually one of the first time I did this technique. I've seen it from this guy you might have heard of. His name is I don't know if I'm gonna say it correctly. His name is Gavin Golden, and I think he worked on Bioshock, and he's really sharing his process of texturing and that kind of stuff recently. I'm actually gonna put some links in my video description because he actually shared a huge part of his sculpting and texturing process for a character he called the Outsider. So it's really worth watching it. So I'll put that in my description so you can take a look at that. I'm sure that's gonna be like super helpful, and I'm surprised there's not more views on his video because it's amazing. So I've seen him do that, and he shared a bit of his process to do it. And I've seen some people do it for the Dota 2 characters too. So for the light map, I'm not the best person to tell you how to do it because that was really a try. But that was the scene I made it in. So you can see I just put an Omni light just to do very soft, not to be too blasted, and then I just did like this little setup of Instance Omni that I played with the DK here to get that kind of result. So I did use some of those map in it, and it does help me get a lot of details back. Well, not really details, but volume that sometimes you lose in your texture. So that I actually really liked it. Like I used it for the first time, and I think the result was pretty good. I think I'm gonna continue using those. He did use some colored one too in one of the image I seen from Gavin Gulden. I didn't do that, but I think it's worth trying to if you can find the process he shared somewhere that I don't have right now. But yes, I'm gonna actually show you back on the upper body. So I'm just gonna remove everything to show you a little bit how I constructed that inside of Photoshop, because that's mainly what I use. I did use a little bit of 3D Code, which is new for me too. I've been starting to use it at work, and I've discovered some nice way to use it for the texturing process, but I don't know a lot about it, so I'm not gonna show you too much on it, because I just know how to import my stuff and do a couple of painting in it. So but I did use it, and it's pretty useful, especially when you work with seams and you want to be sure you're not gonna show them around and you want to dirty up over them, etc., etc. So you can see I work with a lot of layers. Like this is my base. This is my gray base for the undershirt I call, because you want to be sure to be easily able to work on specific part, and those are so great for like this one's not so great, but for selection you could still do that. So and then I have my logo here. The logo was from a shirt that one of my friends got from a conference or something like that, so I actually took it back, and I lost the mask for this one, but I just masked like the picture to get it, and then I ate a bit of it with some textured brush to get that kind of detail, so the logo is still there to be able to select it easily and stuff like that. What I was talking to you that I didn't use picture really, those are the only picture I use, and those are some grunge map I found on the internet. Like you can just search grunge map on Google, and I don't use them much. Lucy doesn't do a huge difference, but it just gets that very random look that sometimes when I paint you kind of lose that because you choose too much where you're going and stuff like that. So same for those one. Sometimes there's a little bit of color in it to help me out. So that was my base of like as much picture I use in that texture. So that's still quite a bit. It helps with the stain to get them around randomly. So I started with that, and then you can see here that's actually my 3D coat texture. So I just used one of the basic brush and 3D coat, and I really wanted to dirty up without caring about going through the seams, and I just wanted to be sure not to create any artifact or anything around the seams. So I just bring it up, like dirty up with a thing, and then I just export back the map into Photoshop, and then I got this nice result. But of course I reworked those a bit and in Photoshop after all, and like you see, once again I still use layers a lot too. I have like here I wanted to kind of have this like very soft dirt that you get like sometime when there's like sand and stuff like that, so I want to paint it around. Those were painted with like just random brush I found on the internet over the year. I cannot really tell where I found them or anything like that. Some were made by me like when I was 14 and stuff like that. I've been using Photoshop for a very long time, so but you can always make some very nice one with some picture or just some grabbles that you do on Photoshop, or you can find some really great one online too, so you can check for that. I know that for painting itself I have some very old brush from an artist, she's a digital painter called Mélanie Delon. She's French, I think, and for painting I really like what she put online, but that was years ago. I don't know if they're still around or anything. So going on with another layer, those were just like you can see just very very sharp details. I don't even know why I used that in a different layer. Maybe I wasn't sure at the point if I liked it, so I left it there, but it's pretty much it. Those one Like you can see those gray layer like that, those are actually overlay layer. So I just put a base gray on those, and then I just go work it out with like a dodge and burn tool to actually bring some light and some shadow. And so you can see here I really use that to get a little bit more light on the chest. Sometimes I will draw, like help the shape of the fold a bit, bring that kind of details back. Like those layer that you can see here, they're all like layer and adjustment layer that I add over top, but I'm actually using a black um, a mask over, and then I go to paint the place where I want those. So this is basically a level. I don't think you can see a lot. Yeah, it's very subtle, this one. Maybe I'm gonna get back to this one. It's a bit more crazy, so some people were saying my texture were getting a little bit not saturated enough, so at this level that really helped like bring some contrast in my texture. But I think I can just disable. So look what I actually got without the mask. So I get a result that I kind of like. Oh, it's cool, but that's like way too much. And then I just put a black mask, and then I with a texture brush you come and bring back in the place you want. So it's not destructive either, because you can always, like, if you don't like it, you can paint some black back in. So it's really fun because you can just paint and go with the X on your keyboard, just go put it back, put it like put some in, and then remove it if you don't like it. So that's a very non-destructive way to work. So and here that's actually in my AO etc. It's my actual bake. So you see, there's a lot of difference if you remove my bake. So this was my basic AO. I showed you my AO before, but that was just an old one, like before I actually fixed it, because I do repaint a lot of it over the time. And those, you can see, those are my the light map I showed you. So they're in like soft light 21% here. But what I find with that is that always, like here you can see, especially it make it a little bit less saturated, and I didn't really like that. So I just add another one and add it and like overlay. It just gives a little bit more color to it, in my opinion. So and here I have those are like, I think I'm just gonna go see, not to say something silly. Okay, so those are cavity maps. Okay, those are not real cavity maps. I didn't bake them from like the ZBrush model or anything like that. It was actually just a cavity map I made, I think, from like Knold or something like that. With from my normal map, you can use Knold and do Crazy Bump. I just made that's like those one. They're maybe not the greatest, but I like to get like a little bit of those shape back, especially since you see here I didn't have. I think that's what I used it for. No, not this one, but get a little bit more of those edge back in some area. But once again, like the second one was really soft, and the first one, sorry, was a really soft one. I put in 15%, and then I put a second one and I put really, really strong at 100%. But then I used the mask again just to get it in specific area, like the color that I wanted to use it. Here, that was just an overlay of like my pattern. The pattern I made actually after finishing my ZBrush, because I don't know, I don't always like to have my pattern inside of ZBrush, because I find it's kind of destructive to do that. If I want to change something later, it's a little bit harder. So I just did it in ZBrush after all, after everything was done, and I just like did a basic. Well, basically, I imported. That's kind of complicated to explain. I imported my final mesh that was unwrapped into ZBrush, and then project back all the detail in it, and then I use a noisemaker on my unwrap to get a nice result with a pattern, and then I just bring it back in Photoshop. So it's really subtle here, but you can see the patterns there. And then that's the pattern for the other one here. Yep, sorry, this one. And those were actually, you can see that adds a lot actually here. Those two last map, they're a map that I do with my normal map. It's a way to desaturate it and play with the level and bring them in soft light. So it just had a bit of I really like to use it for, especially for seams and well, seams in the clothing and stuff like that. That sometimes I lose a bit with the occlusion. You don't see it that much, and I don't think I'm seeing it enough in the texture. So stuff like that you can see here, and the line pattern on my color was add later, so that's the only way I bring it. So you can see here I really boost it up with the second map using a mask. So I really bring the color lines here with that. Sorry. So you can see that's some pretty simple texturing. Like we went over the whole process pretty fast. So it was basically the same thing for every map. Every single map was made with the same process. This one is a little bit more heavy on the occlusion though, but I really like the result it gives since the bag is really dirty up and you really don't want to get like too much light in those crease and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go a bit over the head before I'm gonna go to the hair. So for the AO it was basically the same. You can see that it does had a lot of details again, but for the skin itself, um, it was all hand painted, no texture were used. So you can see here, if you just use my base texture, you can see that you get a lot of those details, and those were made using my normal map, like I was telling you, desaturate it, play with the level, and then bring it with the soft light. So you can see here, I started painting some colors. It's pretty ugly when you say it like that. On the model, you can see it's really hand painted. So that's like to bring the red or of the nose, like the red of the mouth on the texture itself. And I did play. It's so funny when you see it like that because when you don't see the finished result, it looks kind of silly. But those were like blemishes that I bring because you always have like this little like red spot on your face. It's not even the skin at all. So I just I think did some dots and then blurred them around, especially since she has a lot of freckles on her face. And this one, I don't know if you can see, but those are like pores that I add after, but now I see them first. But because I've seen some people saying like that the forehead is a little bit more of yellow hue, and the like your nose, eye area, it's a little bit more reddish, and then here it's more blue, green, like gray a little bit. So like right now it's a little bit too intense, but I kind of try to add those nice little colors into my texture to make it a little bit more realistic. I'm using just like I think it's a basic brush from Photoshop in here. I think it's called Duster. Like I can't see the name right now, but it's just a basic like little sparkly kind of brush that I just brush slowly around. I found some other one and I made some other one over the time too, uh, but it's really easy to do. So here's another pore one that I made, so you can see it's just like brushing little dots all over the skin. Some people do it in ZBrush in poly painting or in 3D code. This is actually really nice. Like I've seen some amazing results, especially from this guy called Isalex on Polycount, or Yuri Alexander, I think his real name. I'm sorry if I butcher your name, by the way. And he did get some really great result with the poly paint in ZBrush, so it's worth looking to. He made some really great tutorial in Polycount showing up his process for that, so you should take a look at that too if you're interested in painting your face texture. So let's continue on with the layer. Here's my very ugly 3D coat painting. Actually got some nice detail here. The face, I think. Yeah. So here was a little bit of little base of freckles and blemishes I made in 3D coat because my face is actually underwrapped with a little bit of deformation to be sure to use as much space as I could. So here when I was doing it inside of Photoshop, I was getting it a bit deformed and I didn't like it, so I'd rather poly paint it in well, I don't know if it's called poly paint inside of 3D coat, but you know what I mean. And those are just a base to put a bit of a hair color in the head area, so you don't see the head so much. So for another layer, it's the detail one. So you can see I painted the eyebrows on. You can see I add some like little, how do you call that, beauty marks, I think, in English. So nothing complicated, like that, like the eyebrows were just like probably just using like one of the basic brush with a like a shape dynamic, and I just want to really just brush in some eyebrow in. So for the freckles, I did that inside of 3D Code too. You could have made it inside of Photoshop if you're really good at that, or even with ZBrush 3D Code. So that was made inside of 3D Code. I used like this like Spark look, dots alpha, and then I add like some variation of color. I think you can do that in the parameter. So I got that kind of result. I did mask a lot of it because that was a bit crazy there, a little bit too much, and got some comments it was getting noisy and stuff like that. So I masked some out to really get that kind of result. So, and then I got some dirt map over that, some just really nice brush I found over the time, just adding some all over the face. Maybe that's a bit too much there. It looks kind of really how do you say that? Really sharp there. But when it goes in the character, I think it looks nice. So there was some little blood there, and that was just painted too in. So got some more air from 3D Code to be sure to cover really all the air area. And that was another one I just add later because the hair moved a lot because the hair was too far back. And so here was the same for like I showed you before for the AO and everything. I did add like a little bit later just for the rendering like the shadow of the air because at some point it was a little bit too bright between, but in a game I don't think you should always do that because the they're just gonna add AO everywhere even though it's really bright in some areas, so it might be looking a bit silly, but you can see a bit. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the overall texturing. Now I can cover a little bit of the air because that's what a lot of people ask me about. So like I said in my other video where I cover my ZBrush called The Hair Was Made Inside of ZBrush, and I really did use that as a base, even though I was not sure it was gonna work, it did kind of turn out not too bad. So you can see back in my old version, that was really the air. Right now it's not unwrapped, but that was the plane that I bring exactly from ZBrush. So that I made using the transpose and the move tool. So of course I did modify them quite a lot because when there was interpenetration or stuff like that, you can see they're really close. It was not looking so good in the engine or anything like that. So I did modify quite a lot. When the alpha was in at some area, it was really too low res. You see here, or too far away. So it was looking like the hair was just flowing away. So I did modify them quite a bit. Had some polygons, had some more. Well, you can see overall it still really looked like the original one. The only part I remade completely from scratch was the actual ponytail because I actually went through like it was the same strand of hair that was going from the head to the back, and at some point it was just too many. It was getting really confusing in the back. So what I did is that I just like started like with a kind of a cylindrical shape, and then detach every single one of the strand I had and kind of place them around. So I just redid that after to get more of that look that I wanted to get. The other one was a little bit more confused. So yeah, so I can show you like I basically just did some planning or how many like different hair strand I wanted and where would they be used, and then I started painting them around, and once I get kind of a nice result I would like start UV mapping them on. So I really just go over every strand of hair and then I map it. Sometimes I add some later, so it's really nice because they're already mapped, but usually you can see they're just individually mapped one by one on the alpha I want. You can see what it looks like. Yep, so that's pretty much it. So you can see Photoshop, like you can tell I wanted a couple. I'm gonna show you the alpha to help. I want a couple of like less defined one, like a little bit more like the one you would see on the bangs and stuff like that. Those one where they're really more defined is the one that I use in the head, like where the ponytail goes. It's like just the hair that goes over her head, so you don't need that much like alpha and stuff like that. That's not gonna go over her face, so it's not gonna look weird if there's not too much black in those alpha. So those two were used especially for the back of the head, kind of. Those one were made like more for ponytail, for the bangs. Those two one that looks a bit silly here is the back. Let me show you. Is the back hair, like where you get that little bump of hair that goes into the ponytail. So I use that for that, not to just maybe I could have used that. Maybe. Actually, those were just small that I put in the back. Those were one that I add on the forehead, like very specific little strand of hair that are not used everywhere. Like those either, they're not like the one that are used the most, but they're more specific to add a little bit more life, like or cut a bit of the not tiling, but like you reuse always all the same strands, so you want to add a little bit more variety, like on the front and stuff like that. So I'm still learning a lot about hair, like still not the best, and especially with the alpha, some like make them really defined, some have like a little bit more gray in it. I'm not too sure yet what looks the best depending on the engine, and sometimes you might want to bring a little bit more black in to get a little bit more layering, but that's really like I think it's something you should try depending on the engine you're using, technology, if you have a softening of the alpha, like that kind of stuff. So how I actually did them, you can see like I really just go and paint every single one of them, and I like to have them on different layer, just because after if in the end I can see like, oh, there's too much space between those two, one I can easily just move them around, because then different one and the alpha is in a different one, the other one in the other like group, but I can still like, for example, those two one I want to move, I can move them all together. So it's pretty convenient to keep them in separated layer. So I can show you real quick how I do just the texturing. It's not it's really not no rocket science. I have those brush. I think those one were from I think the artist I was talking to you earlier, Melanie Delon. That's her name. I don't know if you can still find them easy online. Those were years ago, but that's the one I use for that. So those were actually made for painting hair. You can find a lot of them on like well, a lot of different one from other people, but on like website like DeviantArt and stuff like that. I don't. I think some 3D artists share those too. So like I just like to do a base with something like that. Right now I'm just doing pretty quick stuff, but just to get an overall like and then I would get like the roots always a bit darker. Like this is just like, and then I just like to use like one of the just round brush, and then it takes a lot of time if you want it to be real nice, but I like to paint like by hand, like the strand to really get like with not too much opacity, like just come and paint them on. That's too big. Give it a 5. So it's not too saturated, and then I come and really, like I'm not doing a really good job right now, of course, but that's how I actually paint my hair, with like layering of a lot of colors until I get like something I like. And sometimes I just redo them a couple of times because I'm not convinced with what I got, but you can see like I'm just doing a mess right there, but it gives you an idea. And to do the when I want to do the alpha, I just really duplicate them around, like those one. I'm just gonna put it on top right now, and then I would just like desaturate it, and then I would just play with the level until I get something interesting. Right now I just put it black. I don't know what I was thinking. I should put it white, but and I just lost everything. Nope. Sorry. No, I'm just being silly right now. Oh, here we go. So I just start with that, and then sometimes would use mask to mask some back, or like if I think if it's too gray, you know what I mean. So and if it's still like I think it's too gray, it gets still like duplicated and get like something like that. It's really playing around for those. So yeah, and then when you see the result on the character itself, sometimes you just like, oh, this one does need like more. Maybe now it's say, oh, I could add a little bit of black in there to have a little bit less thick hair. If you see, so that's yeah, that's pretty much covering the. I think most of the question I got. So I really hope, sorry, that was helpful. And if you have any question about that, don't hesitate. I'm not really mean, I think, so you can contact me. I'm almost everywhere. Facebook. I have an email. Like I'm on DeviantArt, CG Hub, Polycount. So just hit me up if you have some question. Don't be shy. And yeah, that's about it. So I really hope that was helpful. Once again, I'm gonna put in the description some links that maybe you would like to go check around. So maybe it's gonna help you, especially about the hair. And if you have tips and tricks even that you would like to share with me, I would be really happy to hear about them. So I wish you a really great day, and I hope that was enjoyable. Thank you.